The U.S. national parks everyone visits are overcrowded, overpriced, and over-photographed. These are the 10 underrated national parks in America that have the same jaw-dropping landscapes, with almost nobody standing in your shot. This is WishSpots. Let's go. Nevada is famous for Las Vegas, but almost nobody talks about what's hiding deep in its mountains. Great Basin National Park receives fewer visitors in an entire year than Zion gets in a single weekend. And that invisibility is your golden ticket, because inside Great Basin, you get 3 unbelievable experiences in one park. First, Mammoth Caves, an underground marble world so detailed and surreal, it looks hand-carved. Second, Wheeler Peak. Standing at 13,063 feet, it's home to ancient bristlecone pine trees more than 5,000 years old, some of the oldest living organisms on Earth. And third, the sky. Great Basin is one of the darkest certified dark sky parks in America. On a perfectly clear night, the Milky Way stretches across the sky like a glowing river above your head. Great Basin gives you the universe above, and ancient life below. But most people speed straight through Nevada toward Las Vegas and never even realize this place exists, while millions of tourists sit in Zion traffic for hours. Great Basin offers 0 crowds, 0 waiting, and skies so dark it feels like floating through space itself. Drop a comment if this just made your 2026 bucket list. And now, from the silence of Nevada's desert sky, we head somewhere the Earth is still tearing itself apart. Park number 2 is in Texas, and it's the highest point in the entire state. Most Texans have never even been there. Most people think Texas is flat. Guadalupe Mountains National Park is proof that Texas has been lying to you, because this is the highest point in the entire state, and most people don't even know it exists. The park sits on what was once a massive Permian reef, an ancient ocean floor more than 265 million years old, lifted high above the desert, and the Guadalupe Peak Trail takes you all the way to 8,749 feet, with views stretching across 3 different states. But here's the part almost nobody expects. In October, the fall colors here explode across the canyon walls in brilliant reds, oranges, and golds. Rivaling scenery people travel across the country to see in New England. Most Texas residents have never seen it. Guadalupe Mountains gives you the version of Texas nobody advertises. An ancient ocean floor transformed into a mountain desert, the highest point in the state, with almost 0 crowds, the highest point in Texas, and most Texans have never been there. That's the difference between being a traveler and being a tourist. So tell me this, which state's hidden gems shocked you the most? Next, we leave the desert behind and head north to Oregon, to a lake so impossibly blue, so perfectly clear, that first-time visitors genuinely think the photos are fake. They're not. What if I told you the deepest lake in the United States is also one of the bluest, clearest, and somehow still feels almost untouched when you arrive? This is Crater Lake National Park, and it defies every expectation. Crater Lake was born from one of the most violent volcanic eruptions in North American history. 7,700 years ago, Mount Mazama exploded with such force. The mountain collapsed into itself. What remained became a giant basin that slowly filled with nothing but rainwater and snowmelt. No rivers flow into it. No rivers flow out. And the result is extraordinary. Water so pure and clear, you can see deep beneath the surface. At nearly 1,943 feet deep, it's the deepest lake in America. And in the center rises Wizard Island, a volcanic cone emerging directly from the water itself. You can kayak around it, hike to the summit, or visit in winter when massive snowfall transforms the rim into one of the most surreal landscapes in North America. Crater Lake is what happens when catastrophe becomes beauty. A lake born inside the skeleton of a collapsed volcano. No rivers, no pollution, just pure sky water resting inside the bones of a dead mountain. If that doesn't make you want to see it for yourself, nothing will. We leave the surface entirely. Because park number 4 is hidden underneath Kentucky, and it holds a world record most Americans have never even heard of. Most people picture national parks as mountains, forests, and giant open landscapes. But Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky is something completely different, and it holds a world record that most Americans have never even heard of. Mammoth Cave is the longest known cave system on Earth. More than 400 miles of explored passageways stretch beneath the hills of Kentucky, and scientists are still discovering new sections to this day. Inside the cave system, you'll find cathedral-sized chambers, ancient Native American artifacts more than 4,000 years old, and even blind cave fish that evolved in complete darkness across thousands of generations. And no matter the season outside, the cave stays at a constant 54 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, a perfect escape from the summer heat. Every step through Mammoth Cave is a walk through 350 million years of geological history. 350 million years. Beneath your feet in Kentucky. And most people drive right over it on their way to Nashville without ever realizing what's hidden below them. 400 miles of cave passages, still being explored, still revealing new secrets. If Mammoth Cave just completely surprised you, drop a comment. I genuinely want to see how many people had no idea this existed. And now, from the underground world of Kentucky, we head to the most geographically diverse national park in America. Park number 5 is in Washington State, and somehow it contains a rainforest, glacier-covered mountains, and a wild Pacific coastline, all inside the same park boundary. What if one national park gave you a temperate rainforest, a glacier-covered mountain range, and a wild Pacific coastline, all inside the same border? That place exists. Olympic National Park in Washington State is one of the most geographically diverse parks in the entire United States. 3 completely different worlds inside one national park. First, the Hoh Rainforest, one of the only temperate rainforests in North America. Massive trees covered in hanging green moss so thick it looks like the forest is alive. And the silence here feels unreal, so quiet. You can hear your own heartbeat. Then come the Olympic Mountains, sharp alpine peaks surrounding Mount Olympus, rising nearly 8,000 feet into the sky, with active glaciers still clinging to the rock. And finally, the Pacific coastline, giant sea stacks erupting from crashing ocean waves, driftwood beaches stretching for miles, bald eagles hunting above the surf. 3 entirely different ecosystems, 1 park boundary, and somehow, visitor numbers here are still a fraction of what Yosemite gets in a single week. Rainforest, glaciers, wild Pacific coast, Olympic National Park might be the most underrated national park in America. And honestly, it's not even close. Save this video now, because the moment you start planning your next trip, you're going to want this list. And next, we leave the forests and head deep into the American Southwest, to a place where the ground itself is made of pure white crystal, a landscape so alien-looking, NASA once tested Mars equipment there. Park number 6. There is a place in New Mexico where the ground is made entirely of white crystal, and when you first see it, it doesn't feel real. White Sands National Park looks less like Earth and more like another planet. This is the largest gypsum dune field on Earth. Endless waves of pure white sand stretching across more than 275 square miles. And somehow, most people still don't even know it exists. White Sands only became an official national park in 2019, which means it's still one of the most overlooked parks in the entire country. The dunes rise up to 60 feet high, glowing bright white under the desert sun. But here's the strange part. Because the sand is made from gypsum crystals instead of regular quartz, it stays surprisingly cool, even in extreme summer heat. You can literally walk barefoot across the dunes in the middle of the desert, And at sunrise and sunset, the entire landscape transforms. White turns gold, pink, deep orange. Every photo looks like it was taken on Mars, which is fitting because NASA actually tested lunar and Mars rover equipment here. And since the park sits within an active military testing area, certain sections occasionally close without warning, making every visit feel even more surreal and exclusive. NASA tested space equipment here. The ground is made of pure crystal, and somehow this place stayed hidden in plain sight for decades. If White Sands just shocked you, drop a like. Because next, we head somewhere even more unbelievable. From a landscape that looks like Mars, to a place where the Earth is literally creating new land in real time. Park number 7 is in Hawaii, but not the Hawaii you see in travel ads. This is where the planet builds itself. Most people who visit Hawaii never leave sea level. They relax on the beaches, stay near the resorts, and never realize that the Big Island contains one of the most active volcanic systems on Earth. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is where you can literally watch the planet create new land in real time. This park is home to Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, erupting almost continuously for decades. Here, you walk across hardened lava fields that were molten rock only years ago. You stand beside steaming volcanic craters glowing orange against the night sky, and you hike through massive lava tubes carved by rivers of magma flowing beneath the surface of the Earth. Some are so large, you could drive a truck through them. The park contains 2 of the 5 most active volcanoes on the planet, and that changes the way this place feels, because this isn't ancient history trapped in stone. This is geology happening live, new land, forming directly from the interior of the Earth. Right now, you can stand on lava rock that literally did not exist 20 years ago, not metaphorically. Actually, that is Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, a place where the Earth is still building itself beneath your feet. And next, we leave a landscape being born, for one that looks like it has been slowly eroding and dying for millions of years. Park number 8 is in South Dakota. It holds some of the richest fossil beds on Earth, and most travelers drive right past the entrance without ever stopping. There is a national park in South Dakota that looks like the surface of Mars, contains some of the richest fossil beds on Earth, and somehow still costs almost nothing to visit. Badlands National Park might be the most underrated landscape in the entire American Midwest. Over millions of years, volcanic ash, wind, and erosion carved this region into a maze of jagged spires, striped canyons, and razor-sharp ridges glowing in shades of red, orange, pink, and white. And the colors constantly change with the light throughout the day. But the landscape is only half the story, because beneath these rocks lies one of the most important fossil sites on the planet. The Badlands contain the world's richest Oligocene fossil beds. Scientists have uncovered complete skeletons of saber-toothed cats, ancient rhinos, and prehistoric 3-toed horses buried beneath these hills. And somehow, wildlife still dominates the landscape today. Massive bison herds roam freely across the prairie. The night skies are unbelievably dark, and despite everything this park offers, a full 7-day entrance pass costs only $30 per vehicle. 30 million years of Earth's history, written directly into the rock. Free-roaming bison, a landscape that looks like another planet, and one of the best values in the entire national park system. The Badlands may honestly be the best value national park in America. If this just made your future road trip list, drop a like, because next we leave the open prairie entirely and head somewhere you literally cannot reach by road. Park number 9 is the most remote national park in the continental United States. The only way in is by boat or seaplane, and that isolation is exactly what makes it unforgettable. What is the least visited national park in the continental United States? Most people guess somewhere in Alaska, but the real answer is Isle Royale National Park in Michigan. a remote wilderness island floating in Lake Superior, reachable only by boat or seaplane. And that isolation is exactly what makes it extraordinary. Isle Royale stretches 45 miles across the largest freshwater lake on Earth. There are no highways connecting it to the mainland, no cities, no traffic, no convenience stores, just forests, endless shoreline, hundreds of inland lakes, and more than 165 miles of hiking trails cutting through complete wilderness. But this island is famous for something even bigger. Since 1958, scientists have been studying the predator-prey relationship between wolves and moose here continuously, one of the longest-running wildlife studies in scientific history. And when night falls on Isle Royale, the silence becomes overwhelming. No city lights, no engine noise, just darkness, water, and wilderness. It feels less like modern America and more like stepping backward into prehistoric Earth. This is America before civilization, pure, remote, untouched. Almost nobody has been there, which is exactly why it belongs on a WishSpots list. No roads, no crowds, no shortcuts. The hardest national park to reach in the continental United States, and one of the most rewarding. But now, final park, number 10. And I saved the most visually unbelievable landscape for last. It's in Oregon, and the colors are so surreal that first-time visitors genuinely believe the photos are edited. They are not. Let's go. The last stop on this list looks so impossibly colorful that every first-time visitor assumes the photos are edited. They are not. The Painted Hills of Oregon are one of the most visually extraordinary landscapes in North America, and almost nobody outside Oregon knows they exist. The hills are painted in bands of deep red, gold, black, and tan, the colors of 35 million years of ancient soil layers, compressed into rolling hills that glow at sunrise and sunset like they're lit from within. Each color represents a different geological era: red for ancient iron-rich soil, gold for tropical climate periods, black for swamps, and plant life compressed over millennia. The fossil beds contain some of the most complete mammal fossils ever discovered, perfectly preserved specimens from 44 million years ago. Admission is completely free, almost zero crowds, and the photography here at Golden Hour rivals anything in the American Southwest. At a fraction of the fame, 35 million years of Earth history painted across rolling hills in Oregon, free to visit, almost no crowds, and more beautiful than anything you'll find behind a 3-hour parking line. 35 million years of Earth history painted across hills in Oregon, free, no crowds, more beautiful than Zion on its best day, without a single line. This is the real America, and this is exactly what WishSpots is here to show you. 10 underrated national parks in the USA that the crowds haven't found yet. Bookmark this. Share it with one person who needs a real adventure in 2026. If you made it to number 10, you are exactly the kind of traveler WishSpots was built for. Hit subscribe. Thank you for watching.